In the sharply atmospheric, intensely claustrophobic, and breathlessly manipulative locked room whodunit, The Paris Apartment, New York Times best-selling suspense champion Lucy Foley, The Guest List, The Hunting Party, delivers a masterclass in modern European noir and psychological entitlement. The novel brilliantly utilizes a gilded cage and multi-perspective conspiracy framework, set against the elegant yet deceptive backdrop of number 12 Rue des Amants, a beautiful old luxury apartment block tucked away from the glittering tourist lights of the Eiffel Tower. The narrative centers on Jess Hadley. Broke, alone, and running from a highly troubled waitressing job in England, Jess seeks temporary refuge with her estranged half-brother Ben Daniels, a charming and ambitious freelance journalist. However, when Jess arrives at the heavily fortified building, Ben is nowhere to be found. His keys, wallet, phone, and even his beloved cat are left behind in his pristine third-floor flat, but there is absolutely no sign of him. Foley's signature prose is exceptionally rich, cinematic, and dripping with an underlying sense of Parisian dread and social friction. The narrative employs a highly dynamic mosaic puzzle structure, rotating points of view between the fiercely resilient Jess, a watchful concierge, and an elite, deeply secretive group of high society neighbors. Foley expertly weaponizes the unreliable narrator and isolated circle formulas, throwing Jess's investigative instincts into overdrive as she realizes the building's residents are bound together by an oppressive code of silence. Among the suspects are Sophie Munier, a glamorous socialite living in the penthouse who is harboring a dark, financially devastating secret; Nick Miller, Ben's smooth, wealthy university friend who resides on the second floor; Mimi, a deeply infatuated college student on the fourth floor who watches Ben's window with obsessive intensity; and Antoine, a volatile alcoholic husband. Far from a basic missing persons case, the book serves as a probing, cynical study on the predatory corruption of old money, the exploitation of vulnerable outsiders, and the terrifying realization that your neighbors are playing a meticulously coordinated game to keep a slaughterhouse hidden behind closed doors. The audiobook format is an absolute tour de force in graphic suspense narration, delivering an incredibly intense, white-knuckle listening experience that translates Foley's dark, echoing corridors beautifully to headphones. The stellar multi-voice vocal performance masterfully handles the complex atmospheric pressures, capturing Jess's gritty, street-smart survival instincts, contrasting them beautifully with the cold, aristocratic disdain of the Munier family and the heavy, ominous surveillance of the concierge's lodge. The superb pacing keeps the adrenaline dialed to a fever pitch, making every creaking staircase, hidden compartment, and late-night confrontation feel shockingly immediate. It is a mandatory audio blockbuster custom-built for crime fiction purists who crave the isolated, clue-driven brilliance of Agatha Christie, combined with the heavy, character-driven trauma of Ruth Ware, Shari LaPena, or Lucy Foley's own global sensations. By the time the final act unleashes a rapid-fire sequence of paradigm-shifting revelations that completely upends your theories, you will realize that The Paris Apartment is an untouchable triumph of contemporary noir fiction, a dark, beautifully calligraphied map of absolute retribution.